Hi, my name is Aleem. I just wanted to briefly go over the parts of a wheel, how to take it off, how to take components off, etc., etc. So anyway, let's just say you have a wheel from a bike. This was obviously on a road bike, and if we keep this as the front of the bike and the rear of the bike, the chain would come here. There'd be a derailleur attached to the back seat stays and chain stays of the bicycle, those tubes that are coming like this. And you'd have the derailleur seated here. You had a chain going around, the two sprockets of the derailleur going this way. You have a derailleur that would essentially change the chain on the cassette. This is what we call the cassette. It functions on a ratchet. Essentially, the ratchet allows one-way movement. So if I pedaled forward, the chain would go and I would start turning it. However, if I pedal backwards, that would do nothing, as you see. Now let's say that you have a situation where you're pedaling, when you start pedaling backwards, you notice that the most inferior sprocket starts moving forward and the chain starts drooping, essentially, because this is being pulled back. And the reason for that could either be that the free hub, the hub body, which is what this cassette is actually rolling on, is compromised, or the actual hub itself is compromised. So let's say you want to answer that question. You just want to take this wheel apart. What you'll need, besides a set of gloves, as you know, this can be very dirty. You need the tools as we see here. You need a very nice wrench. Just get a very powerful wrench. It's going to take a lot of force. This is called the chain whip. Now, essentially, the chain whip is a tool that is usually made out of aluminum, and it has literally a piece of chain bolted to it. Now, these chains obviously follow the same normal chain distances or chain sizes as you get on a normal bike, either 3/32 as you would have on a road bike, or 1/8, which is actually what this thing is built for. But if you get a 1/8, you can use either 1/8 or 3/32. Each of these is an inch measurement. Obviously, 4/32 is 1/8, so this is actually what the 1/8 chain is larger than the 3/32 chain, so it's backwards compatible. So we'll see that here. Either way, the purpose of this chain, this tool will become known momentarily. You need a set of pliers. You need something called a cone wrench. I'm sorry, you have a cone wrench. It's a special type of wrench if we want to come in closer to the light. Oh, baby, thank you. As you see here, it's a very thin wrench. It's essentially a square shape cut out. And these are coming in different measurements. This one is a 15 millimeter distance between the heads of the wrench, the teeth of the wrench, and this tool will also become known momentarily, and you need actually many of these. And then you have this other tool, which is a cassette removal tool, and this one actually has a guide pin attached to it. So let's see how to do this. First thing we want to do is we want to take off the axle. An axle is pretty straight. You know, it's essentially just the rod going through. It's just essentially a skewer. You just unscrew it. Oops. Unscrew it. It usually comes. You will have a chain. You'll have two springs. Just keep everything together. Just screw it back on again. Don't want to lose it. Okay. You have the cassette you have the spokes of the wheel going into the actual hub of the wheel. The actual definition of the hub is this actual metal component where all the spokes are attaching to. But when people say hub, they also mean this entire ratchet system with the bearings that we'll see here. So anyway, you'll take your wheel off. You'll see that it has this cap on it. It's a dust cap. Take your pliers. Excuse me. Take your pliers. Just gently pinch it off the wheel. It's gonna definitely take a little bit of force, but this is a good quality rubber usually. So use your fingers, just kind of gently pop it off. Okay, so just put this aside. Then you'll see your bearing system. Now the way that this works is you'll see that there is the cone. Okay, that I don't know if you can see this, but it's essentially a piece that is attached inside the hub are the bearings. The actual little either balls or it's a cartridge. There are many different types, but that is what's actually allowing the spinning to happen. Okay? Now, if you want to go a step out, if we're moving out to the end, okay, it's just moving superiorly on this. So you have the hub where the bearings are. You have this cone, which is right here. There's an inner cone, which is, you can't see it here. It's in this little shadow part. That's directly attached to the bearings. So you have this outer cone, which is right here. Okay, the outer cone, that's what the cone wrench is for, and it has these little grooves on the bolt that are very special. You can't just put a normal wrench on it and expect it to work. So you need the cone wrench, and everybody has different millimeters. Just kind of test it. This essentially allows how much tension is on the bearings, how freely the wheel moves. I suggest that if you don't have to mess with the system, don't mess with it. But anyway, you need the cone here. If you wanted to take apart this entire hub, that's what you would have to do. But if you just want to change the freewheel mechanism, what you can do is you can go back to your cassette. Okay, cassette obviously has this lock ring here. Okay, the lock ring is what allows it to this whole system to be bolted. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense for somebody to be screwing backwards, counterclockwise, and still be attached. So this screw is actually a counterclockwise tightening screw. So it's a left-handed screw, like usually all lock rings are. You take your you take your chain whip. This is called a chain whip. You find a nice, distance where you can kind of just like, essentially we want this to happen. You want it to be fitted inside, so you can have like very strong tension on the thing. Get your tool right here. Now this is coming in many different standards, and there's many different styles of this. I'll send you guys an article showing you all the different styles of this. This one happens to be the FR system. I don't know actually what the actual style of what it's called in normal things, but this is an FR52 measurement. You could use Park Tool or Suntour. They all make bottom bracket lock ring removal. Cassette removal tools. So this one has a nice guide pin. It's really not necessary, but makes it a little bit nicer. You just fit that in there. Get your wrench. Remember, this is a left-handed screw, so you're simultaneously holding the cassette so that you're actually essentially like you would pedal the bike. You're holding that taut. Get a nice grip on your thing. Make it a nice thing like a normal bicycle. And then pop it up, and you can just unscrew it. Essentially, you just unscrew it. It takes a little bit longer. It takes I don't think it was. If you haven't taken this out ever, it's going to be a lot of force. And you can just remove the lock ring. Okay, see, lock ring comes off, and just like that, you can take out the individual sprockets. And the individual sprockets, these are individual. See, they're not one piece, and they fit onto the free hub body. So if I just want to take off the free hub body, and it's either this component that's messed up, or the actual, you would take this off, take all the parts off, take off this part itself, and just dismantle the entire hub if that's a problem. So you can just see what's messing up if you want to take this apart and just see what's going on. But anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope it's helpful. All right, I'll see you later.